guys. Excuse me while I put on a hat. That's better. Sorry, you'll have to forgive my dreariness. Covering E3 was quite a piece of work. Oh, I wasn't really there, but, you know, it was more like satellite coverage. Maybe, you know, this E3 was so much more active than the last one. And believe me, a lot happened that I liked, and a lot happened that kind of confused me. Time to go back through the journey of my mind and my E3 experience. Join me, will you? Every year, the Los Angeles Convention Center comes alive as gaming journalists of all types flock to the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3, to witness the giants of the video game industry show off what they have planned for the upcoming year. And this year was going to be extra special in that it would be the first meeting between the two newest generation of consoles, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Microsoft and Sony have already had reveal shows earlier in the year, and E3 was the public's chance to see the Xbox One and the PS4 in action. As usual, Microsoft started things off, and we quickly learned that the Big M isn't ready to get rid of the 360 yet.
Into your home and into the Xbox family, we're going to update the Xbox 360 console with a modern look and feel based on the Xbox One design.
Microsoft decided to bring out the big guns in helping to promote their new Xbox One, revealing sequels to games like Metal Gear Solid.
Now go! And let the legend come back to life.
And Halo.
And for the first time on console, a Halo experience that runs at a blistering 60 frames per second.
As well as reviving the old fighting game Killer Instinct. But unlike in past years, they weren't afraid to embrace new IPs, like Rise, the Son of Rome.
There once was a shining city on 7 hills, a place of beauty and freedom. Then, freedom became corruption.
Insomniac Games' new Sunset Overdrive game, and 2 games that I'm really looking forward to, Quantum Break and Titanfall, a multiplayer mech third-person shooter. Both Quantum Break and Titanfall look like they could be either really good or really bad. Quantum Break struck me as Microsoft's answer to Defiance, a video game TV show combo, which might be where the video game industry is heading. Who knows? However, the time manipulation combined with gunplay really gave me a time shift vibe, which really made me uneasy, considering Time Shift was the game that brought Sierra Entertainment, one of the greatest game companies on the planet, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise, it brought them down. That's right, the first-person shooter killed the adventure game star. As for Titanfall, well, ever since I played MechWarrior 4 at a friend's house, I always wanted to play a mech video game. Titanfall looks like it could be right up my alley. Oh god, this is warm! Finally, the time had come for Microsoft to reveal what they were setting the Xbox One's original price at. And everyone was especially paying attention to this.
Now, I'm excited to announce that Xbox One will launch this November in 21 markets around the world at $499 in the US.
That's right! They're asking for $500 for this. Before Sony took the stage was the main publishers, Electronic Arts, or EA, and Ubisoft. EA was desperately trying to get rid of their worst company in existence title. And did they succeed? It depends. Electronic Arts was something of a surprise. I was expecting them to be sports heavy like last time, but instead they announced 3 returning properties that I'm real excited over. Star Wars Battlefront, Dragon Age Inquisition,
Darkness closes in. Will you stand against it? Or lead this world to its bitter end?
and especially this one, Mirror's Edge. Both Dragon's Age and Mirror's Edge have had small but very passionate fan bases who have been clamoring for sequels for years. And finally, they get their wish. Mirror's Edge appeared at a, shall we say, tumultuous time in the Xbox 360's lifespan. It was part of the initial lineup, but unfortunately it didn't get much publicity because at the time the biggest Xbox 360 story was the Red Ring of Death. As for Dragon Age, well, considering who we see in the trailer, I am hoping that the, how can I say this? The options are still available. Once again, the Ubisoft media briefing was hosted by Alicia Tyler, fortunately without Tobuscus this time. Seriously, that guy makes me want to punch someone. Anyway, once again, Ubisoft pulled a rabbit, no pun intended, out of their ass and turned it into gold with The Division, a Tom Clancy licensed open-world multiplayer RPG where you are part of a group of secret soldiers trying to protect a pandemic-stricken New York City.
For the armory, should be back here. That hallway's clear.
Still up and running.
I'm not really sure how to feel about The Division. I've heard a rather disturbing rumor about Tom Clancy in that whenever he creates a world in one of his novels, it's always steeped in realism. Meaning that what happened could happen tomorrow. It's not just theoretical. It could happen. It probably is happening. I think he's trying to generate paranoia. I think he's trying to make people paranoid. Oh God, I can't believe I did it. Sorry. I'm better now. What seems kind of odd is that for an author whose work is steeped in realism to use an RPG, which traditionally has always been fantasy, it's kind of odd. I mean, maybe some compromises had to be made for the sake of a video game, but well, I'm not sure if that's one game I'm going to be picking up. I really don't like games steeped in realism. I play video games to escape from reality, not to be constantly reminded of it. But that's neither here nor there. And finally, we've come... Oh, I forgot about Nintendo! Jeez, where is my head today? Nintendo had decided that instead of a regular media briefing, they would put out a Nintendo Direct, which is basically a press conference online and at their Nintendo eStore. They did have a booth with games, though. I've heard various reasons for the Nintendo Direct, meaning ranging from timing constraints to they didn't want to get caught up in the Sony Microsoft hype. Whichever reason you believe, it was mostly the usual lineup of Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, and third-party titles. Although there were a few games that caught my eye. A few games that, I hate to say it, make me want to purchase a Wii U. I know, scandalous, isn't it? Obviously, I'm going to pick up one of the new Pokemon games simply because it's the first pure 3DS Pokemon game, though I'm not entirely sure about the Pokemon and Me thing. I'm also interested in the new Mario game, Super Mario 3D World. It's generating a Super Mario Bros. 2 vibe with being able to play as Mario, Luigi, Toad, and the Princess. And I'm interested in the new Catsuit Mario because, you know, he doesn't get any from Peach. Two more third-party titles that caught my eye were Bayonetta 2, though I'm not sure about her new character design, and Monolith Soft's Mysterious X work. Part of me wants this to be Xenogears 2, especially after seeing the title, but right now it's too early to tell. Finally, the moment had arrived for Sony to take the stage, and everyone waited with bated breath for the direction Sony took with the PlayStation 4 would decide whose allegiance gamers all over the world would pledge to. It was definitely a heavy burden for Sony. So what did they do? Well, to start off, they showed off the console. That's right. Microsoft's reveals one advantage was neutralized right then and there. Not a bad start. Their first original property was The Order 1886, a strange Art Deco kind of Dishonored thing. After that, they showed off updated trailers to some of the games they announced at the PlayStation 4 reveal.
I got this whole thing figured out. We hit the town, maybe swing by the Space Needle, always wanted to see it, and then we're back home to save some lives.
You do realize when we hit the town, there's a fair chance the town's gonna, hit back.
And while Microsoft may have mentioned that they were helping out indie gamers, Sony put their money where their mouth is and showed off multiple indie gamers and their wares. Square Enix had an especially strong showing in the form of Final Fantasy Versus 13, my mistake, Final Fantasy 15. And Wow. First Dragon Age, then Mirror's Edge, now Kingdom Hearts? I'm starting to think the gaming industry really did listen to us. But that can't be, can it? After that, it was lengthy demos of games we've already known about, such as Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Watch Dogs, and Destiny. Finally, the moment everyone had been waiting for. Sony would finally reveal the price of the PS4 and thus cement themselves as either one of gaming's greatest or be the final nail in their coffin. So what was it?
I'm very proud to announce that PlayStation 4 will be available at $399.
Hey, guys, check this out. Okay, here is Microsoft introducing the price of the Xbox One.
Now, I'm excited to announce that Xbox One will launch this November in 21 markets around the world at $499 in the US and 499 euros in European markets, and 429 pounds in the UK.
Now here's Sony doing the same thing.
I'm very proud to announce that PlayStation 4 will be available at $399. €399, and for the folks in my homeland, 349 pounds sterling. In the US and Europe this holiday season.
In last year's E3 coverage, I specifically said that I don't like saying anyone won or lost E3. That basically hasn't changed. As I said last year, I always felt that E3 was a trade show first and foremost. And to say someone won or lost would be relegating it to the level of a high school popularity contest, which I feel is degrading to the ESA who puts on E3 and everyone involved. So to say someone won or lost E3, they should have their head examined. They really should. They should approach this with the sensibility and the tact that this trade show rightly deserves. That said, I do feel that Sony put on the strongest press conference of the Electronic Entertainment Expo. However, that's only because they announced the price of the PS4 as being $100 less than the Xbox One, and because that they decided to leave DRM management up to the publishers, the third-party publishers. So, yeah. While Sony may have, well, you know, it wasn't due to any of the games that were shown, but simply to the price point, as demonstrated by the applause once the prices were announced. So, perhaps in a way this E3 has degraded to the level of a high school popularity contest? I guess what I'm trying to say is the only reason Sony came out so strong is because Microsoft's really was that weak with their DRM and their price and all that stuff. It had nothing to do with the games, which was what E3 was all about. It was what everyone was saying. It was all about the game.
It's all about the games.
It's truly a great year to be a gamer.
But what's always been true is that PlayStation is defined by breakthrough content that resonates with gamers of all types.
And you know, they're right about one thing. It is a great time to be a gamer. Until next time, folks, take care.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-